Today we're going to work through the series of poses which I feel are perfect for your body every day. Doesn't take very long. We're going to hold each position or posture or pose for 3 breaths. So that's what we're going to work with today. And then each time you do this, you can do 3 breaths and then go to 4 breaths and then 5 breaths. And what you will find is how your awareness and what you change in your body. So to begin with, in the very first pose or posture, we need to find our neutral alignment. So lay your fingertips near your belly button, lay your hands on your abdomen, and right about where your wrist breaks, you are going to feel your most prominent pointy bone of your pelvis, anterior superior iliac spine, but it's this most prominent bone that's sticking forward. Put your wrist right there, angle your hands down so that you can line up your kneecap or your patella bone with the top of your ankle. And if you need, stand in a mirror. It's not going to feel like it's natural yet, but it will. This is where your hips say your leg bones need to be. From there, make sure that your feet are pointing straight forward. Toes are softly just resting on the floor, mat, whatever you're standing on. And then let your hands relax, your arms relax. From here, lift up your toes. Make a perfect triangle from the mound of flesh below your toes. So your big toe mound all the way over to your little toe mound. Make that equal in weight. That's the top of your triangle. Draw a line on each side of the bottom of your foot down to the very center of your heel bone so that you have a perfect triangle and that your inner arch and outer arch are equal in their weight. Gently, softly rest your toes down without changing your triangle. To engage our shins, the inseam of your shins, pull them towards each other, soften your knees, take the front of your thighs, and in your mind, swirl them towards the center, towards the back, towards your hamstrings, and then drop your sacrum. So it's swirl your thighs, drop your sacrum, bring your ribs back into alignment over that pelvic bone. From here, we're going to focus on our sternum, on the center of our chest, maintaining everything that we have done. And we're going to take our collarbones and equally smile them, opening them, which naturally lets your upper arm bone just rotate out. Drop your chin a little and walk both earlobes up the stairs backwards together 3 times. This brings us into our neutral alignment. So toes are relaxed, our triangle is equal, shins are engaged, knees are soft, swirl your thighs, drop your tailbone, bring your ribs back into alignment. Equally smile your collarbones, chin, earlobes. And pause here for 3 equal natural breaths. Next, we'll come into our half forward fold. From here, just slowly keeping your lower body just how it was, just hinge over at your hips. So we're coming into an L shape or just a half forward fold. And if you look behind me, you can see the mirror there. Knees are soft. Check back in with your feet, your shins. Swirl your thighs. Still drop your tailbone here. And just let your arms be naturally hanging from wherever they are. And we pause here for our 3 breaths. And you'll notice that you might be slowly letting your upper body release its tension so it brings you closer with your hands to the floor. From here, our next is to go into our downward facing dog. Let your knees bend a little more. Let your fingers set down on the mat and step your feet back into that downward facing dog. Here, let your feet be a little wider than your hips where they were. And to check our position, our toes or whatever part of our foot is on the floor. Knees, I want bent more than you think they need to be. The eye of your elbow, or where we take blood from, that needs to be pointing straight forward, elbow soft. Fingers are spread apart, nice J between your index finger and your thumb. And instead of thinking I need to push or be somewhere, just make sure those elbows are rotated. And then we go to our shins. Pull the midline of your shins toward each other. Knees are soft. Swirl your thighs. Drop your sacrum. Eye of your elbow is forward. Palms are flat. And we pause here for our 3 breaths. Next, we'll come into our warrior 2. So our right foot is going to step forward. Left heel drops down onto the mat. So our back foot is angled so that our toes are out slightly. Let's just pay attention to our right leg in the front. Let your knees be looking at your middle 3 toes. Make sure that your knee is not pushing in front of your ankle. That foot in the back, the big toe arch, the heel is drawing a straight line to that big toe arch or the inner arch on that back foot. So it's heel to arch, perfect alignment. Draw that straight line. Check out your knee in the front. And then from here, just let your upper body come upright because you've checked in with that. And it will take you this much time to just check your alignment. We're going to bring our arms up to shoulder height, palms facing down. Right arm is over that right leg in the front. But before we can even begin, we need to engage our lower body. So I want you to pretend that your front heel is pulling back to that back foot, or you're going to cause a wrinkle in your mat or the floor. So engage your lower body, hold that. Yes, you feel tension. And now we begin our 3 breaths. Notice how you change during that. We're going to release down into our downward facing dog. So just let your hands come back down, step that right foot back. Feet can be at least hip distance apart, where we found in mountain. Check in with your soft knees. Engage your shins. Swirl your thighs. Drop to the floor with your sacrum. Just angle it down. Eye of your elbow is forward. And we pause here for our 3 breaths. From here, we bring our left foot forward, preparing for that warrior 2. Drop that right heel in the back. Line up the left heel with the big toe arch of that foot in the back and come up. I need to bring my foot a little further forward. So we want to check out that knee in the front. My knee is pointing at my middle 3 toes, making sure that my knee is not in front of my ankle. Checking out that I have that straight line from heel to arch. Just coming upright with my body. I'm lifting up my arms just to prepare, but we're not there yet. Shoulders away from my ears, relaxed. Begin to engage your lower body. So wrinkle your mat, pull that left heel to the right foot in the back, engage your lower body. And then we begin our count. 3 breaths. And releasing again to our downward facing dog. Hands come down, nice J between finger and thumb. All of my fingers and palm are flat. Eye of my elbow is forward. I am going down to my pelvis. I'm swirling my thighs, dropping my sacrum. My knees are soft. My shins are pulling towards each other. And I pause here for 3 breaths. Releasing our knees down to the mat. Top of our feet are on the floor. I'm going to make a fist or 2 fists, stack them on top of each other, and I'm going to come down into my child's pose, but my elbows are reaching up as high as they can. Rest our forehead down. Your knees can be close together, they can be far apart, whatever is comfortable for you. And then we pause here for 3 breaths. Notice what you feel in your body, just an awareness. And as we release, bringing our hands onto the mat, we're going to come back into our down dog from here. So just curl your toes under. Lift your hips up, palms, our fingers are spread open, palms are flat, eye of our elbow is forward, knees are soft, no joint is ever made to be locked. Eye of our elbow, shins are engaged, swirl your thighs, drop your sacrum towards the floor. Pause here for 3 breaths. And walking our hands towards our feet. So we're going to come into that half forward fold. So try to remember where your feet need to be placed under your pointy hip bone. Knees are soft and we're folded over. My feet are flat. Check in with that triangle on the bottom of your feet. Knees are soft. Our upper muscles in our leg bone are relaxed. And we're just hanging out here for 3 breaths. Slowly release up. We're coming back to where we started, into that mountain pose. You can check out your alignment. Make sure your feet are where you need them to be. So that front hip bone with our knee to the top of our ankle. Lift your toes up. Find that perfect triangle on the bottom of your feet. Gently rest your toes back down. Engage your shins. Soften your knees. Swirl your thighs. Drop your tailbone, maintain all of that while putting your ribs back over that hip bone. Equal smile in your upper body, your clavicle, your collarbone. Drop your chin. Walk your earlobes up the stairs backwards. And pause here for 3 breaths. Now for me, I would go through that same series, but hold it for 4 breaths. Finish that out, and then do for 5. So in the end, once you get used to it and you're not talking as much as I am, that whole process might take you 10 minutes, maybe. We don't want to rush our breath. We do want it to be natural, just whatever our flow of breathing needs to be, working towards having our inhale and our exhale equal. Have fun.